for Greater West Bloomfield News, Civic Center TV and 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, West Bloomfield, Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, 89.3 Lakes FM. It's the Megacast, an hour-long TV and radio streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Live from West Bloomfield, we're bringing you the news, updates, and information impacting communities around Michigan. Join our host, Tyler Kieft, as he talks with community members, business leaders, and professional experts about the stories that impact you. You're watching the Megacast on Civic Center TV. Stop by West Bloomfield Town Hall June 14th and get your health in check at the 14th Annual Greater West Bloomfield Health and Wellness Fair. Over 40 businesses, organizations, and vendors take the time to showcase healthy practices, tips, and resources for the community. Young or old, there's something for everyone and everybody. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Wednesday, June 14th, the 14th Annual Greater West Bloomfield Health and Wellness Fair. This community update from Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
There are many different kinds of noses. Our noses can sniff out all kinds of things. Good things and bad things. Your nose knows if those sniffles are just a cold, allergies, or COVID-19. So swab it. Test it. It's good to know.
.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Today's edition of the Megacast begins now. Welcome to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Oakland County and the state of Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Today we'll be talking to a number of people about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders just like you. Let's begin with what's making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page. Our top story comes from Chandra Fleming at the Detroit Free Press. It's rare to have multiple 70-degree plus days here in April in Oakland County and across the state of Michigan, let alone an entire week of it for several days in a row, including some that may jump over 80 degrees. But that's what's happening this week in Michigan, including in our local area. Upwards of 30 degrees hotter than normal April temperatures in the Great Lakes state. And there's plenty of sun to go along with it, according to the National Weather Service, who forecasts highs between 73 and 78 degrees today with a light breeze, followed by a sunny Thursday that also comes along with temperatures between 73 and 78. Excuse me. Then on Friday, get yourself ready for summer weather at its finest. A high of 80 degrees in our local area with a nighttime low closing out around the average temperature for this time of year, right around 56 degrees, your low temperature on Friday night. Then Saturday, it's more of the same from before this week, but that's where we head back also toward more normality in our weather pattern as we approach Sunday's weather. And if you've been tuning into the show late, you know what happens when you have a big temperature swing from one day or a couple of days to the next, especially if there's activity in terms of precipitation or storms that could come through the local area. And we are expecting there to be a chance of a storm on Saturday night. So that, with all that being said, with temperatures swinging from being hotter than normal to being back to more temperate, that can always help to create conditions that could get more on the severe side. That's not what's forecast necessarily. It could just be an average run-of-the-mill thunderstorm, but depending on how this weather pattern develops, it wouldn't entirely be a shock if we have some severe weather mixed in there in certain parts of our state. There's a chance of thunderstorms on Saturday night with rain after 9 p.m. and highs of 78 degrees to kick off the weekend. Then back to more normal on Sunday with 64 degrees your high with rain to cap off your week. So overall, a wild week of warm weather for us here in Oakland County and across the state of Michigan. Enjoy this little taste of summer while you can before we head back to a little bit more of early spring weather going forward. It's a great time to get outdoors, enjoy the season, hang out with friends and family, and go out on the town. This article even has a list of great events coming up this weekend. So go ahead, click through, and check out what Chandra Fleming has listed and some fun and activities you can do all around Detroit and the metro area. Enjoy a little bit of summer fun this weekend. Those are also listed on our website, civiccentertv.com, on our local news page. Along with this article, click through. There's even more information that's linked from Chandra Fleming to the National Weather Service and other resources that are talking about this unique weather pattern we have coming through this week. It's been a beautiful week so far. It's going to be a lovely day on this Wednesday and Thursday and Friday also. Looking like they're going to be absolutely beautiful days outside. We'll get a little bit of that on Saturday before the storms come in, and then we head back to more of a rainy and more temperate Sunday in terms of our weather. Also making headlines today from Jennifer Chambers at the Detroit News on our website on civiccentertv.com. The third-party firm that is independently investigating the Oxford High School shooting from November of 2021 said this week in their first public report that they have received some quote-unquote critical information on the shooting from the prosecutor's office, including some information that we, the public, have not yet been privy to. Guidepost Solutions Executive Vice President Bradley Dzik said that this information is critical to their investigation and has been immensely helpful in devising their review, although some of it is not yet public information that reported at the recent Oxford Community Schools board meeting. As a condition of receiving this intel from the prosecutor's office, both Dzik and Guidepost Solutions agreed with the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office to keep the information confidential for the time being, given that this info would have an impact, potentially even a significant impact, on the impending May 1st pre-sentencing or Miller hearing for the alleged shooter, who was 15 at the time of the shooting and has pled guilty to the charges he is facing, as well as the trial of his parents, James and Jennifer Crumbly, who both each face 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the deaths that occurred on November 30th of 2021. The information will, however, be permitted to the public once the prosecutor's office, and particularly Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald, has determined that it would not impact these upcoming hearings. Bradley Dzik said that Guidepost will continue their communications with the prosecutor's office to gain more information and context and communicate with them as they continue on their own independent investigation and prepare their report. Again, this public report will only be released once the prosecutor's office here in Oakland County has cleared that confidential information provided to Guidepost Solutions in order to be made public. There they can release it then with the rest of this information. Otherwise, if it is to be released before that, I would imagine if that information is not cleared, it's either going to be omitted from that public report or it would be redacted in that public report until it's cleared by the prosecutor's office. But it seems from what this article is saying, for what Bradley Dzik, the executive vice president of Guidepost Solutions, who is doing this third-party independent investigation into the Oxford High School shooting, that until all of the information in the report would be available to the public and is permitted to be made available to the public and not interrupt or have any sort of adverse impact on trials related to the Oxford High School shooting, that it will not be released to the public until that time. With this knowledge, the public still wants, of course, answers sooner rather than later in this case, as they have already waited over a year and a half for this information to be made public and these reports to be released, as was urged at the school board meeting by Vice President Heather Schaefer, who said to Dzik, quote, "The community thinks that we are stalling this. We have done everything we can to encourage this to get done. It's time to get this done," and closed quote. According to Dzik, most of the victims and their families have met with Guidepost Solutions for interviews, and those who have not have been sent requests in order to do so, and those requests have been sent to the victims and their families via their attorneys. Additionally, making headlines today from Jonathan Osting at Bridge, Michigan. When you head to the polls for the presidential primaries, your options may not be as robust as they have been in the past, especially if you plan to vote in Michigan's Republican Party primary. The Michigan GOP is considering a change to from an open primary to more of the model of what we see with our friends in Iowa, caucusing registered party members only, or possibly just a state Republican convention that would declare whom Michigan's Republicans say is their person for the presidential job. Michigan GOP chairperson Christina Caramo confirmed this consideration with the media this week, saying, quote, "Those discussions are happening now actively as we speak, end quote. This all comes as the possibility still remains of Michigan moving up the timeline in terms of its primaries, possibly making it one of the earliest states in the union to declare its top presidential nominees in the majority parties, being the Democrats and the Republicans. Part of the reason for this move by the Michigan Republican Party, they haven't made anything official, but they're considering either moving to a statewide convention for their primary or caucusing county by county. Part of the reason they are considering this is because of National Republican Committee rules, which state that additional states cannot hold their primaries before the month of March, or they may face potential backlash, such as losing their national GOP delegates at the Republican National Convention. Under the new law, our Republican primary would be on February 27th, along with the Democratic primary, just barely in violation of these National Republican National Committee rules. And therefore, that's why this is being so seriously considered. Remember, we have open primaries in the state of Michigan. That means anybody can vote in our primaries as long as they're a registered voter in the state of Michigan. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you can vote on either side of the aisle. However, you have to choose only one of those parties to vote in. So theoretically, you could have Democrats that vote in a Republican primary in the state of Michigan, and vice versa, have Republicans vote in Democratic primaries. I'm sure it's happened in the past, and for someone that's moderate like myself and doesn't have a political affiliation one way or the other, I can say for sure I have voted in both a Republican and a Democratic primary here in the state of Michigan on multiple occasions, one side or the other. Again, it's one side or the other. You don't have to be a registered Democrat to vote for a Democratic set of candidates in the Democratic primary, especially the presidential primary. Same thing goes for Republicans. You don't have to be currently in the state of Michigan a registered Republican in order to vote Republican in these primaries. Under this format with the Michigan GOP, should they decide to go to this, you would have to be a registered registered Republican, my apologies, in order to participate in their primary, particularly in those caucuses. Now, there's other scenarios too where individual voters may not necessarily have that heavy of involvement in choosing one candidate versus the other, but rather choosing delegates who county by county would then convene statewide to ultimately choose the winner of the Michigan Republican presidential primary. Per this article from Jonathan Osting, quote, grassroots activists who control the Michigan GOP are pitching a plan for a series of county-level caucus meetings where roughly 5,000 elected precinct delegates, so that's who you would be electing. You'd be electing those precinct delegates who would go to the county level, the county Republican Party, and choose their candidate of choice. That would then be convened at the statewide convention in person on a single day to debate and help decide the presidential nominee for the Michigan Republican Party, ultimately impact the delegates that are being sent from Michigan to the Republican National Committee's national convention, which will happen later on in the year, in order to officially name the presidential candidate for the Republican Party. There are several issues that have been risen about this potential move, from closing off voters specifically to their one choice and having that sort of popular vote be what determines Michigan's Republican nominee for president and other positions, as well as the state GOP's debt issues, potentially causing a funding problem that may lead to some organizational issues, so to speak, if they went to a caucus-style primary. And more. And all this is detailed in this article from Jonathan Osting. He did a really great job. It's an extensive article that really goes into detail about what this would mean for Republicans in the state of Michigan, what this would mean for primary season in the state of Michigan, what's currently being considered. Again, nothing has yet been made 100% official by the Michigan Republican Party, although these discussions about potentially moving to a caucus-style primary have been confirmed to be discussed by party chairperson Christina Caramo, state party chairperson Christina Caramo, and could potentially be something that's impacting your vote later on in the year as we head into the primary season, or, well, frankly, it would be early on next year as we head into the primary season here in the state of Michigan. So that's something that could potentially have a big impact as we get into 2024 and get near that election time. here in Michigan for those primaries. Big news today, and it's a perfect day for us to be telling you this story because we'll be able to dive into it even deeper a little bit later on in the show, as we'll have Dave Dulio, a professor of political science, who's also the director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University, on the program with us. This is a big story here in the state of Michigan. It could potentially impact your vote come the presidential primary, whether that is in February or it's after February, depending on how state law draws out. Why this might be something that's seriously considered by the Republicans, we'll get into that more with Dave Dulio later on in the program. So stay tuned, or if you got to go away from us for a little bit because you're in the middle of your work day, you're out and about with your kids, you got other things to do today, you just want to enjoy the sun outdoors and get away from technology and media for a little while, that also will be on civiccentertv.com/megacast right around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So stay tuned for that. You're definitely going to want to listen in to that conversation I have with Dave Dulio this morning as we discuss this and other big political stories right here in Michigan. Finally making headlines today on our local news page on civiccentertv.com, this time from Jordan Hermani at MLive. Texting and driving is already illegal in the state of Michigan, but the laws behind that rule might soon be getting a bit of a modernization. A 3-bill package presented in bipartisan fashion in Lansing would make using any electronic device for any purpose illegal in the state of Michigan. That includes operating tablets, computers, smartphones, and other devices for texting, for video or audio streaming, and video calls, and so on. This would make Michigan the 26th state in the union to enact so-called hands-free driving legislation and put these rules in place. Said Representative Matt Kolazar, a Democrat from Plymouth, quote, "This legislation is designed at saving lives, which is incredibly important," end closed quote. Kolazar was part of one of the bipartisan co-sponsors of the legislation. Of course, again, 3 bills: House Bill 4250, House Bill 4251, and House Bill 4252. Those are the 3 proposed bills that would enact this so-called hands-free driving law here in Michigan that would expand the texting and driving law really to new heights at 25 states, half of the union at this point already have in place, and those bills, information about those bills is linked in this article on civiccentertv.com's local news page. So as you're following along with us, if you want to skim those bills, you want to look over some of what's in that legislation later on, it's on our local news page. It's right in this article from MLive, posted on civiccentertv.com's local news page. However, there would be some exemptions in this law for different uses of devices while in your vehicle. Those include CB and ham radios, medical devices such as insulin pumps that you may need to use while in a vehicle, and of course for first responders such as EMS, police, fire, and so on, who would be able to use their devices, their computer systems, and so on in order to communicate with each other, receive information from 911 dispatch and other agencies in order to protect the public in surrounding areas, and also in-car systems that are already in place and are more commonplace today, especially in newer vehicles such as Android Auto or Apple CarPlay or others. Those would not be outlawed if these bills passed. So you'd still be able to stream, let's say, music while in your car using Apple CarPlay or using Android Auto or another similar system that's internal in your vehicle. You just wouldn't be able to have your smartphone out and be at a red light deciding which song you're going to put on next, or changing your playlist, or sending a text message, or accepting a video call from grandma while you're driving around town. That would become illegal in the state of Michigan, much like texting and driving already is. And this is all aimed at making our roadways safer. Look, we're in a different time on the roads than we were a few years ago. Even pre-pandemic, these sorts of protections were being considered as something we can add on to those texting and driving laws as technology became more a critical part of our everyday life, as it became more of a distraction out on the roads. We already know the impact that texting and driving can have, the deadly impact that texting and driving can have. And during the pandemic, maybe it wasn't having as great of an impact as it did before because there weren't so many people that were out on the roads each and every day. But now, much of our society has reopened, has returned to whatever semblance of normal you're calling what our current situation in our local area and across the U.S. and around the world. And that means more drivers are out there, more people are going to be on their devices, more distracted drivers, higher chance that you're going to have distracted driving be an impact on our roadways, especially now that we're into the warmer seasons of the year, spring, summer, construction here in Michigan. That also is going to have a big impact too. And we've already seen in recent years, despite less drivers being on the road, we talked about this in February with the Michigan State Police's local precinct. We talked about this in February. Distracted driving, driving accidents, deadly accidents, all have been on the rise in the past several years. That includes those that are impacted by distracted driving. And there's so many more things to distract us nowadays with our ability to be on a video call, and even though you're maybe not looking at the screen all the time, you have that person up on your screen, you're looking over at them, you're taking your main focus off the road, and your peripherals are instead being where your focus is, and that's not putting your full attention on the road ahead of you, on the drivers ahead of you. Anything can happen. You can hit a deer, you can rear end a car in front of you, you can be at a high speed, especially on the highway. Higher speeds, bigger impact, could have a wide-ranging impact if you are to get in an accident. So that's why these bills are being considered. Again, bipartisan support. One of the sponsors, Matt Kolazar from our local area, is a Democrat from Plymouth, but there is also Republican sponsorship on these bills too. It's a bipartisan 3-bill package, and it would update our anti-texting and driving laws to be a variety of different electronic uses, streaming, using social media sites, making video calls. While, if you're caught texting nowadays, you'll get pulled over, you'll get in trouble for that. You could also end up in this scenario, should these bills pass and become a law in the state of Michigan. All those other uses that aren't texting, that may be considered loopholes, so to speak, today, by saying, no, officer, I wasn't texting, I was accepting a call from a friend, a video call from a friend, or I was denying that, or I was clearing a push notification. Those sorts of things could potentially be illegal out on our roadways in the near future. You can explore these 3 bills, more details on what's being considered in Lansing in this regard, as well as this entire story and supporting materials, by visiting our local news page on civiccentertv.com. That's where all of our headlines are. They're all on civiccentertv.com's local news page, along with public health information and links to the CDC, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division's COVID-19 pages and other public health pages. Those are all linked at the top of our local news page, and that's available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whether you're able to join us for a full live show or not, or you're just looking for those quick bites, those few, 3 to 5 stories every day that are really important in our local area or across the state of Michigan, our local news page is a great place to go to find those resources, to find those articles, to click through and read them, and other supporting materials, especially if it's an issue that's important to you or is really interesting to you. CivicCenterTV.com, top of the page on your computer is going to say local news. Click on that. On mobile devices such as your smartphones, your tablets, and other similar mobile devices, cell phone-like devices, it'll be in a drop-down menu on the top left of your screen. You'll select local news. It'll take you to that page as well. Same information, same links, same place. It's going to just be in a couple different spots. You'll have to look for it depending on what device you're using. But again, all of that, CivicCenterTV.com. Just go to our local news page and find all that information and these articles today and throughout the week. Every single week, we keep those articles up until the Monday of the next week over when we clear it, and make sure that you only have those stories that are the most important from this particular week as we air Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We have a great show ahead on today's edition of the Megacast. Stay tuned. Coming up next, helping young adult and teen moms right here in our local area with A Girl Like Me Incorporated. Stay tuned. This is the Megacast.
When the temperatures are chilly, being together warms the soul. Keep the winter fun going. Help protect yourself and those around you by keeping your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
I'm Steve Eiserman of the Detroit Red Wings, and I think every child in Michigan deserves a safe, healthy, and happy childhood. Can we build a state where Children Trust Michigan isn't just a name, but something our kids believe? Please support Children Trust Michigan as the voice for children and families by visiting the website to learn more.
Ronnie started doing prescription pills at the age of 15, and by 19, he died. If your child is struggling with drug use, try not to be too proud to reach out for help. Don't be worried about what the neighbor will think or your family. Just get your child the help they need. Sometimes it's the hard road to take, but the hard road is nothing compared to living with the fact that your child is no longer with you.
There's hope and help at drugfree.org.
Hello, nose. My nose knows is when somebody uses the bathroom. Mom, Polly didn't flush. Ooh, I smell cookies.
I smell an A+. How could my nose be running when it stays on my face?
Our noses know if those sniffles are just a cold, allergies, or COVID-19. So swab it. Test it. It's good to know.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan and Oakland County. I'm Tyler Kieft. You can learn more about our program by visiting our website on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. It's a great place to go to learn more about original programming from us here at the Megacast and on our flagships of Civic Center TV and My Michigan TV, but also about a number of other community television and radio stations that are making an impact in your hometown right here in Oakland County as well. We have links to every single one of our partnering stations that join us live or join us live to tape, as we say in the business, on our website on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. So if you're joining us in Waterford every morning live from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. with the Media Network of Waterford, you can check out all of their other great original programming from right there in your hometown and throughout the Lakes area by clicking on the Media Network of Waterford link. Or maybe, hey, you're an avid radio listener, you're looking for a great station that's different from the ones that you're usually going to, or you're looking to add another station to your presets. 88.1 The Biff joins us every single day out of Bloomfield Hills High School in the Bloomfield Hills School District, where it's throughout the day, it's music from a variety of different eras, some of your favorites from across the generations, and then from about 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 9 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday, it's original programming from students at Bloomfield Hills High School and in the Bloomfield Hills School District. Their own programs, they do them, some of them once a week, some of them now are doing multiple shows a week. That's a more recent change in recent years, and they're doing amazing work from sports talk coverage to talking about entertainment to top 40, to those classic radio DJs. They do a variety of different original programming, as well as Bloomfield Hills School District sports. Also, whether you're looking for Blackhawk baseball, they did a great job during the basketball season covering that team as they went all the way into the playoffs and were defeated by our team here in West Bloomfield at West Bloomfield High School early on in the MHSAA Division I boys basketball playoffs, and it's also your home for Blackhawk football as we get closer to the fall season and high school football comes back around. But they have plenty of great original programming, including some international programming over the weekend as well, and you can learn more about all of that by simply going to our website, civiccentertv.com/Megacast, and click on any of those links. In addition, all of our full episodes every single day and our individual segments. So if you missed today's interview with Dave Dulio, big time interview today with Dave Dulio as we're talking about some of the stories making news in politics here in Michigan and around the U.S. It's a very tumultuous time, very interesting time in our politics, as it's continued to be of late, so you won't want to miss that. But if you do miss it live, you'll be able to find it on demand, usually about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on our show days during the week. We'll have all of our content from that given day on our website, civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Well, across our local area, around the state of Michigan and around the U.S., something we see quite often are young women that are falling into motherhood, maybe not as much as they plan or when they have planned. Sometimes it happens as a teenager, it happens as a young adult, and you may not have the support system there to help you through a trying time like that in your life as you are navigating being a young person, becoming who you are, discovering yourself, but also now raising a child. But one local nonprofit is helping young mothers across southeastern Michigan and beyond to take that journey in stride and build that support system that they are seeking as they do so. Joining us on the program now is the founder of A Girl Like Me Incorporated, Tyra M. Moore, on the Megacast. Tyra, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on again to talk about this organization of yours who does such great work and has some exciting programming coming up as well. So first off, just for those that aren't familiar with A Girl Like Me, tell us about your organization and some of the people it helps to serve here in Oakland County and around the state of Michigan.
Yes, so A Girl Like Me Inc. is a nonprofit organization that helps girls, teens, teen moms up until the age of 25. We provide parenting class, childbirth class, lunch and learns. We give out free diapers, wipes, feminine products, and also we provide a mentoring program every Saturday for girls, teens, and teen moms 11 to 17.
You can find more information about A Girl Like Me Incorporated by visiting their website, agirllikemeinc.org, agirllikemeinc.org for more information. And so tell us about these programs and how they are going to support these individuals. How do people come to A Girl Like Me Incorporated for some of this help?
So we have an application process. So girls usually find us on like social media because we share about the classes, we share about the things that we provide and give out. So what they do, they reach out, they fill out an application. They always email me and let me know like they filled out an application. So we just ask like they pick a class that they want to attend, and that way when they pick a class, we know that we can set them up with a baby bag filled with baby items, and they receive either a free pack and play or a car seat referral when they come to class. We also, with the mentoring program, we have 10 girls right now, and they're like almost about to graduate from high school. So we're going to start another set of girls once the girls that's in the program move on and go to college and things.
And among all of these things that you're doing, you're also providing some events for these girls too, because a lot of times, especially if they're young mothers, if they're getting pregnant in their teenagers or even in their early 20s, some of those hallmarks of that young age of life are not going to be something they can necessarily participate in because they have bigger things to be focused on. So tell us about some of your upcoming events that help to kind of bridge those gaps.
So because I even started the program, I was a 14-year-old teen mom. So I never got the opportunity to attend my high school prom. So last year, what I did was I threw one. I invited 25 moms, teen moms, ages 17 to 100 years old to come out and have a prom with me. The oldest one that came out was 60 years old. So that's now going to be like our signature event every year, is to throw a teen mom prom for moms that never got the opportunity to attend their high school prom. And with that, it's going great. Moms are happy. They are even happy that I thought of the idea and, you know, made it come to life, because that's a moment everyone should be able to have.
And again, you can find more information by visiting A Girl Like Me's website at agirllikemeinc.org, agirllikemeinc.org for more information, including ways that you can participate and ways that you can support these individuals that A Girl Like Me Incorporated is serving each and every day here in our local area. Joining us on the program today is the founder of A Girl Like Me Inc., Tyra M. Moore, on the Megacast. Again, their website, agirllikemeinc.org. And in terms of community help, how does that factor into these services that you're providing? Because it is a variety of different ways that you're helping these girls, and a variety of different ages too, and certainly those needs are going to be different from one age to another.
So like just having the classes or just being a person that these girls and teens and young moms can talk to, because a lot of the moms, they don't need items. They just need like the support and need someone to talk to. So we could create like community events where moms, they come out, and if they do need items, they can shop around for free, or they can call. We have like group sessions where we talk to the moms, we talk about their problems or anything they are going on in their life. And also with the other ladies there, they all have different things in common, or they have resources, which is so wonderful. They share with each other. And also, they also like to give back by volunteering with us. And we love that so much.
And what are some ways that people in the community, even if they're not affiliated with someone that's getting some of these services or participating in some of these events with your organization, how can the community help in your mission to provide what you are to these individuals of varying ages?
I would say gathering like donations if they have like nice, gently used baby items and clothing, or even clothes for the moms or the whole family. If you have those things, you can donate to us. We're always accepting donations. Also, with the prom season coming up, we always like for donated prom dresses, shoes. Also, people would like to volunteer their services and come help out with the classes we provide. We have a lot of donations, so we always need donation sorters and people that just like to talk to the moms or talk to the youth that we serve, or pick up and drop off donations such as like diapers and things. That really makes a huge impact, showing these girls that it's people all over the world in a community that really want to help. Even if they don't have like money, they can help by just talking to you, because sometimes just talking to a person can make a person that you don't know what a person is going through. So that's how I try to get help for a girl like me, Inc.
Yeah, and Tyra, you see that impact every single day as you've been doing this work since you founded this organization and have been working with these individuals, especially as this has grown from being a more of a grassroots operation to where it's at today. So just how big of an impact does that do those relationships have? Do those conversations with people that have are either going through a similar experience to you or have gone through that before really change those individuals, those girls and those women's lives?
So by being able to even start an organization and telling my story was something I never wanted to mention, never wanted to tell anyone about. Like, I don't want to go telling people I'm a teen mom, but just by me being a voice and being on like social media and people seeing me in person and know, like, you know, my story is my story, but it didn't define my life. So once girls and teens and young moms hear that, they want to talk to me and want to come out with their story. Even with little girls that's going through things, like scared to tell their parents, like we have conversations together so they can finally feel comfortable, you know, to tell their story. Because a lot of people, they do have like secrets that they hold on to because they're ashamed and scared of what people may think. I even had that situation as well when I was a teen. I didn't talk about a lot of things, but now I just feel free because by talking about these things, I may uplift or bring someone else out of a dark space that want to tell their story or want to help others as well as me.
Again, you can find more information on the organization and ways you can get involved as well, but whether it's participating in their events or supporting their second annual prom event, or just by making a donation to A Girl Like Me Inc. by visiting their website, agirllikemeinc.org. agirllikemeinc.org is their website. And Tyra, you've been here from the start. You've been helping these girls and these women for all of this time. For you personally, having taken the journey that you've taken and now helping others on that journey, tell us about how that feels for you to be able to see these girls and these women change over time and grow into the situation or situations that they may be in, but also grow as a community together and help each other.
So for me, I'm just very excited and happy about everything that's been going on with A Girl Like Me, because with my moms, like, they are like too like a protection. So like if anyone try to say anything or something like that, or try to get over it, you just try to do weird things, they are on it. I usually don't even have to say anything. They let people know. They spread the word about what we're doing and how we all can come together. They even come up with different ideas, you know, to better their organization. And I love that so much, because these are girls that, you know, wouldn't even speak up about anything. People are coming out their shell. They are happy to have and be surrounded by other girls and women that's like them, and they don't feel like alone. And I just really feel so excited and happy because I wanted this organization. I didn't even know where and how I was going to start, but I know I promised myself at 14, because of family and friends and community coming through for me because they didn't even know I was pregnant. I just promised myself that I was going to pay it forward, and I'm glad that I kept my word and was able to pay it forward and continue to pay it forward, you know, for the rest of my life.
Again, more information can be found on agirllikemeinc.org. A Girl Like Me Inc. is the organization. agirllikemeinc.org for more information. And with just about 45 seconds left, I do want to give you one last opportunity, Tyra, to talk a little bit about what this organization really does mean to you, because those situations, especially for young mothers in their teens or even preteen in some cases, there's really still that stigma around that situation. And so to have an organization like this, what does that really mean when it comes down to it? What do you wish more people understood about that sort of a situation being in as a young woman and as a young mother?
So what I would like people to know and understand, like, please don't judge, because you don't know the situation or how this mom became pregnant. So do not judge. And if they're keeping their child, all you need to do is just be a helping hand or just move on. These girls already feel ashamed that they are teen or young moms and, can't barely take care of themselves, and now they have a child in the world. Help them, be a helping hand, assist them, because all girls aren't just not trying to do anything. I have a lot of hardworking moms that pays all the bills and they don't have anything just to get some food or get diapers or feminine products or household things for their home. So all I would like the community and people to know is just let's come together and help. If you have any resource, if you just can talk to a mom or a teen mom or they're going through a situation, just help them. If you know they need help with schooling, work, anything, if you don't have the resources, try to contact someone that can help them, because everyone is not trying to be a statistic. We're trying to get our education, and making girls and teens feel less than, that is very wrong. I had that experience, but I ate them words and I kept it moving, and now changing lives, and the girls I serve are helping changing lives as well.
And when you come at it with a positive attitude, and when you come at it with in the mode of support for those going through those sort of situations, you can truly see the positive impact it makes on their life. And you can do that at girllikemeinc.org. Tyra, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Always enjoy having Tyra on the show. I've had her on a few times to talk about Girl Like Me Incorporated. They do a great amount of work to build community here in southeastern Michigan for mothers that are experiencing either single motherhood, maybe they had their child young, or other situations have arisen that they need a support system. And above all else, that's something amazing that they do. So always great to have Tyra on the show to talk about the latest that she and her partners in A Girl Like Me Inc. are doing to help mothers in our local area. We'll take a break on the Megacast. On the other side, plenty happening in politics here in Michigan and across the U.S. We'll talk with Dave Dulio from Oakland University up next on the Megacast.
1 in 4 Michigan homes has high levels of radon, a naturally occurring radioactive gas known to cause lung cancer. It doesn't matter where you live or what type of home you have. You won't even know it's there unless you test. So don't wait. Testing is cheap and easy, and if there's a problem, it's simple to fix. Visit michigan.gov/radon to learn more.
We took action. Will you?
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Oakland County and the state of Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. You can learn more about our program by visiting civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information on all of our partnering stations all across the Great Lakes state and find our full shows and each segment on demand. So whether you're able to join us live every weekday from 10 a.m. to 11 or not, you'll always be able to find us on civiccentertv.com/megacast. Joining us on the program now, as we are in a very active time in our politics here in Michigan and across the U.S., is Dave Dulio, professor of political science at Oakland University, where he also serves as the director for their Center for Civic Engagement. Dave, thanks for being with us.
Hey, Tyler, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on as we get some big news this week in the Michigan Republican Party, a potential change maybe coming to their primary as we head into 2024 and get ready for a big presidential election season, especially as it seems it's going to be in the Republican Party. Considerations being taken by the Michigan GOP to change from participating in Michigan's open primary, which allows cross-party voting on either the Republican side or the Democratic side of the ballot, to more of an Iowa-style caucus, or potentially just up to about 5,000 precinct delegates from each of Michigan's 83 counties. What really is the basis behind this potential change or this consideration from the Michigan GOP?
Yeah, I think there's one thing that's driving this, and that is the scheduled primary based on the action that the state legislature has taken is outside of the window permitted by National Republican Party rules. The RNC set the rules for this primary process last year. And then the Michigan legislature comes in and sets a primary date of, I believe it's February 27th.
Yes.
And that is, that would violate the GOP rules. So the Michigan Republican Party is kind of stuck, right? They can stick with the primary date that's been set, but be in violation of national party rules. And with that would come some sort of penalty, likely loss of delegates to the national convention, which is the point in the process where the presidential candidate is formally nominated by the party. It might also have some financial repercussions. So if but this wouldn't be unprecedented. In 2008, both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party violated each of their own national party rules during the primary process by holding an early primary. The Democrats this time around have made a carve out for Michigan in the first wave of primaries that are going to take place, and Michigan is fine with the date of February 27th in terms of Democratic primary rules. Now, if they if they don't want to violate the rules, they have to do something else. So those two options are caucus or convention, and each of those has different pluses and minuses, pros and cons. You mentioned Iowa, certainly the most famous caucus state, but I would be shocked if the Michigan Republican Party did anything that looked like a traditional Iowa caucus. I imagine if Republicans have a caucus, it will be much simpler than what the Iowa caucuses used to look like. I'm not even sure that the Iowan folks have figured out what their caucuses are going to look like in 2024 yet.
Yeah, 2020 was not exactly the smoothest caucus for Iowa. Quite disastrous
in many ways.
To speak on it lightly. So I'd be certain that the Michigan Republican Party, especially if they're going to be on the earlier side of things, are going to want to be a little bit outside of the realm of what Iowa did. That being said, Dave, along with this, part of the issue is the uncertainty surrounding when Michigan's date is going to be. In order for that legislation that passed that would move Michigan's primary to being February 27th, the House and Senate have to adjourn by the end of November, which would be several weeks early. That being said, there is a majority in both the House and the Senate on the Democratic side that could, so to speak, poison pill the Republicans into that situation anyway. So how much of a factor is that playing in, knowing that the Democrats also have a little bit of their own strategy behind potentially this date that could impact the National Republican Convention?
Yeah, so the story behind that, Tyler, right, is any law that's passed during a legislative session in Michigan doesn't go into effect until 90 days after the legislature adjourns for the year. So if Michigan were to, if the legislature were to adjourn at its normal time in mid-December, that law about the primary date would not go into effect until March, right? And which would be outside of the window, or I'm sorry, it would not go into effect until it was too late, right? And now there's a way around that with something called immediate effect. if the legislature votes, I believe it's a 2/3 vote in both chambers to provide immediate effect for legislation, then it takes effect right away. Obviously, immediate effect, right? So, but Democrats couldn't get those votes. No Republicans voted for immediate effect, and you can see why, right? They don't want to be on the side of voting to basically violate their own party rules. So, there is some uncertainty. I think that it depends on sort of the state of the Democratic primary toward the end of the year, right? I mean, if it's Joe Biden and really nobody else, well, there's no real pressure to have a primary in the early window, right? I think that Michigan Democrats would want to maintain that spot though, and have something so that they can be set up for future primary cycles where it would be more of a contest. Now, having said that, right, Marianne Williamson and Robert Kennedy have said that they are going to challenge Joe Biden. Those are going to be long shot candidacies at best. But I would imagine that you'll see the legislature adjourn in that mid-November timeframe so that you can have that February 27th primary.
Yeah, that does not require a supermajority in either chamber of the legislature in order to happen. So, that's something you can presume would happen, being that the Democrats were very much adamant about moving up Michigan's timeline, knowing that this is a critical swing state that could have a major impact even in the primary season for setting up the presidential general election as well. Joining us on the Megacast today is Dave Dulio, a professor of political science at Oakland University, where he is also the director of their Center for Civic Engagement. More information on oakland.edu/CCE. Dave, last week, Thursday, just a little over a week ago, Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, presumably could be a Republican candidate for president in 2024, visited Midland in a almost 1 hour speech where he talked about a number of different issues, including combating wokeness, so to speak, in the state of Michigan, as he's allegedly done also in Florida. This is not something new to Ron DeSantis. He has gone to other states already, as he's kind of, as you said, has the worst kept secret in American politics that he's running for president. So with all that being said, with him going on this not presidential primary tour and making all these different speeches all across the union that sound very much like a presidential candidate, why hasn't he declared?
I think they're playing the long game. I think that they have a strategy mapped out, he and his team, and they are going to stick to that plan. And I think that that's really smart. They have, I'm sure, identified a particular point in time where they think it is most beneficial for them to make an announcement and take it from there. So I think that they are biding their time, and I think that what they're showing is discipline, right? I mean, I think that there have been a couple points in time, for example, last week with the Trump indictment, where DeSantis could come out and say, okay, this is enough. I've had enough. This is, we need to move in a new direction, et cetera, et cetera. But they haven't done that, and I think that just tells me that they've got it planned out and they're sticking to that plan in a very disciplined way.
And part of that, of course, has to factor into the Florida's so-called resign to run law, which does state that you have to resign from your position within that state government. So, for example, the governor would have to resign in order to run for a federal position while presumably still holding the office, which is not the case necessarily in all 50 states, including in Michigan. So that's got to play a factor too, but that timing also has to be really well timed out too, given that Donald Trump is the presumptive candidate in the GOP. There's going to be that presumably epic battle between the old guard, in this case being Trump, and the new guy that's very Trump-esque in Ron DeSantis. So how does that timeline factor in too, would you imagine?
Yeah, I think the fact that he'd have to resign is a big one, right? I mean, I think he's got time. They can do things behind the scenes as a campaign that don't require an official announcement. But at some point, they're going to have to pull the ripcord and do it, right? And but I think that part of it might be that he's got some legislative activity he wants to pursue in Florida and be able to again, when he goes to places like Michigan, tout continued successes in what he sees as a changing Florida as a way to improve that state and point at examples of, hey, we did this in Florida, we'll do this at the federal level. So I think that's likely part of it as well.
Yeah, and it's also a way for him to continue to make some progress on the Republican side in Florida and use that as also an example when he's making these speeches all across the union, similar to what Trump has done in his own way, both in 2016 throughout his presidential run up until 2020, and even in the last election. Building that narrative is a critical part, especially if you're going to go up against a guy like Donald Trump. And so
there's one drawback to that, Tyler, and I think that is that DeSantis needs this to be, at the end of the day, a Trump versus DeSantis matchup, right? I mean, I think that you've seen from the polling that's out there now that the non-Trump side of the Republican Party is splintered between DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott's senator from South Carolina is gonna form an exploratory committee today. And undecided, right? He needs to consolidate the non-Trump side of the party to try to win this thing. And the longer it goes where he's sort of, flirting with it, I think that gives those other rivals more power to consolidate it themselves. So, I mean, at some point they're going to have to take the step and throw his hat in the proverbial ring.
Yeah, more time that Trump has other people to focus on, and the run also gives him more time to burn some of those bridges, which opens up the door for Ron DeSantis. It's all a bunch of strategy going on, as you expect as you're going for a presidential run, especially in a year like 2024, where regardless of if it's Republican versus Republican or Republican versus Democrat, it's going to be a very, very interesting and very competitive presidential election run. Dave, anything else for us this week before we let you go?
Nope, just, may you live in interesting times. That ancient Chinese curse is certainly upon us.
We always appreciate having you on and look forward to our next discussion as more goes on over the next week and beyond here in Michigan and across the U.S. Thank you as always.
Thanks for having me.
Oakland.edu/CCE is a way for you to keep up to date on everything going on in Michigan politics, as well as participate in our political realm too, having civilized discussions on the issues, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, a third party member, or you're a moderate, or anywhere in between. I just want to discuss the issues with other people in our local community and how they impact us here in Oakland County and across the U.S. The Center for Civic Engagement, a great way to do that. You can follow along with everything that they have going on all throughout the year, and especially in a very tumultuous, as we expect, 2024 presidential year by visiting oakland.edu/CCE. That is going to do it for today's edition of the Megacast. As always, you can keep up to date with us on our website on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Learn more about all of our partnering stations across Oakland County and throughout the state of Michigan, and find every single one of our programs on demand as well. Full episodes and each individual segment. It's all on civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Big thank you to Dave Dulio for joining us on the program today, as well as to our crew, Jared Clark at the studio of My Michigan TV, and Calvin Brown, our director at Master Control here at Green Media Center in West Bloomfield for Civic Center TV. Until next time, I'm Tyler Kieft, hoping that you take care of each other, and we'll see you very soon.